I think it's time to have an honest conversation. And that honest conversation is centered around the fact that Lamar Jackson does not belong in the same conversation as Josh Allen. That's the conversation I think we need to have. I don't want to bring the Bills into this, but I'm going to because I have to. And I'm not even arguing that Josh Allen is in the same conversation as Patrick Mahomes. That Mahomes is, he's in his own galaxy. You know what I mean? So you just have to ignore him. He's like, it's like Ohtani in baseball, where it's just like, he's just put him, But I sat back last week after the Bills lost, and I listened to every analyst and former player talk about how the Buffalo Bills came up short again, which they did. It's true. But I also listened to them talk about how Josh Allen can't beat Patrick Mahomes and that Josh Allen didn't do enough to win that game against the Chiefs. And I've listened to people say that again. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to jump in to interject because I completely disagree. Like, not disagree with you, disagree with what's said with that. Because, I mean, man, Josh Allen couldn't have done anything better. Like, he had I don't want to say a perfect game, but, like, they told
about
Josh
as
Allen,
close as you could get.
They told Josh Allen, don't turn the ball over. He didn't turn the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
They told him, like, hit your receivers. He was hitting them. Like, his ability to use his legs. Like, he did everything he could do. It's just, it didn't go in the Bills' way. So I don't know if it's defensively. Like, it just didn't go right.
It's funny you say that because you listen to people all year talk about how Josh Allen is a ticking time bomb and you never know which is true. Sometimes you never know what Josh Allen you're going to get. But people were talking about this is a scary thing when it comes to the playoffs. Can he be trusted to lead this team to the playoffs? And then I listened to those same people all year talk about how great Lamar Jackson is, which he is. He's phenomenal. And he had an outstanding season. And he might be the most talented rushing quarterback of all time. And, this year he really elevated his passing game with the help of Todd Monken and, some added weapons onto that offense. But it was all those same people that were saying towards the end of the season how he's a lock for MVP. And obviously, this because we talk about it all the time. I disagree then. I disagree now. It is what it is. The MVP is a quarterback award. We know that. And it goes to the best player on the best team. And, Lamar Jackson is the best player on the Ravens. And even if the quarterback stats are far and away statistically one of the weakest in the history of the award, even if there's another quarterback who had 15 more touchdowns, whatever. I understand that Lamar is the easy choice for the MVP because his case is the easiest to defend. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I listened to all of that and I was salty about it, and I'm still a little salty that, in my opinion, Josh Allen's MVP is going to be sitting in Lamar Jackson's crib. But before the playoffs started, I said to myself, you know what? Lamar Jackson can have the MVP because Josh Allen's going to get what matters. And obviously that did not happen either. But all that Josh Allen did in the 2 playoff games that he played in was throw for 203 yards, 3 touchdowns, rushed for 74 yards and a touchdown against the Steelers in that wild card game, which made Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills the only team not named the Kansas City Chiefs to win a playoff game each of the last 4 seasons. They're the only 2 teams. Then against the Chiefs in a game where they lost by 3 points, he rushed for another 70 yards, 72 yards to be exact. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, threw for a touchdown on a throwing across his body, running to his left in the front left corner of the end zone. Ridiculous throw. But they lost to the Chiefs again, this time at home. And this was all while the turnover machine quarterback accounted for 7 touchdowns in the playoffs and 0 turnovers. And I hear all these people talk about his legacy and what the effect of that game was on his legacy, because it's true. Going into that game, that was a legacy game, and the outcome of that game, to an extent, did affect his legacy. But last time I checked, there's other players other than Josh Allen that are allowed to make plays, like you mentioned. The defense is allowed to force more than 1 punt. The defensive line is allowed to record 1 sack, which they didn't do. His number one receiver is allowed to catch a ball on a 65-yard bomb that hits him in the hands. And then the other wide receiver, Trent Sherfield, is allowed to catch 2 deep balls that also hit him in the hands. So, but all of this is going on, and Lamar Jackson played a great game against the rookie of the year in CJ Stroud, a young team in the Houston Texans. And it's another game, just like that Chiefs game, where his defense allowed 0 points in the second half. And that defense did the same thing, like we said, in the AFC Championship game. And it's a game that people were saying before that game started, no, this is the new Manning-Brady rivalry. Because Josh can't beat Patrick in the playoffs, which is true. It's true. He's 0-3 against him in the playoffs. But the difference in this game was that the Ravens offense, like we mentioned, that was the best in the league coming into that game, led by the supposed lock for MVP, put up 10 points, and Lamar Jackson had 2 turnovers and should have had 3. And I'm not going to sit here and say, Josh Allen beat Mahomes in the regular season. That means he's not, no one cares about the regular season. All that matters when you're looking at quarterbacks, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, what can you do for me in the playoffs? First, can you get your team to the playoffs? 100%. But then what can you do for your team in the playoffs? The playoffs are where the elite quarterbacks shine. It's where you find out the real tiers of quarterbacks. And Patrick Mahomes is in his own tier, like I said. Guy's been to 4 Super Bowls in his first 6 seasons. It's unbelievable. But in my opinion, so far, the only guy who has been able to play to his level, or not only to his level, but outperform him, is Josh Allen. Just to wrap up this silly rant, because I really truly mean, and I'm not just saying, this is like a homer rant for sure, but I think my favorite, what I like to do is look at the statistics, and I think there's a lot, playing narrative ball is always fun to do, and it's especially fun in the playoffs because you go into games like this where there's legacies on the line, like we talked about. But against the Chiefs, the Bills played the Chiefs, Ravens played the Chiefs consecutive weeks. Josh Allen in that game, 3 touchdowns. The offense scored 24 points. He had 0 turnovers. The defense allowed 27 points, and the defense had 2 stops all game, one of which was a kneel out by Kansas City to end the first half. Lamar Jackson against the Chiefs, that same Chiefs team, 1 touchdown. The offense scored 10 points. He had 2 turnovers. The defense allowed 17 points and had 7 stops throughout the course of the game. In his playoff career, Lamar Jackson is 2-4. How about this? In games where the opponent scores more than 13 points, he is 0-4. When the opponent scores more than 13 points. In his 6 career playoff games, he has a 57% completion percentage, 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Josh Allen in 10 career playoff games, 65% completion percentage, 21 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's the second best touchdown to interception margin in playoff history behind Patrick Mahomes. That's it.
Do you know what saddens me? And I don't know if you saw the comparison. And the more I thought about it and the more I read into the stats, the more I was like, damn, they're probably right. The comparisons with Lamar Jackson and Joel Embiid, it breaks my heart. The getting the MVP
That's
awards,
your guy,
just
too.
Unable to get out of the damn second round, the next round, just unable. Breaks my heart. So I know that.
Basketball,
I will say,
it's so much different, but it's so much.
Yeah,
it's.
But the comparisons I thought were funny. I will end by just saying that I think once Josh Allen beats Mahomes once in the playoffs, it could be over. All you have to do is get over the hump.
Just once.
And Mahomes will probably take him down a few times, but Allen needs one. He needs to beat Mahomes once in the playoffs, and I think the playing field is going to be level, and it's just going to be a back and forth affair. But then next year, you had Joe Burrow right back into the mix.
I know that's the tough part. But
he's going to be there for years.
That's the whole point. When you watch those games, those Chiefs Bengals games. And I'm not saying Joe Burrow played bad. I'm not saying he played bad. But, look at what Lou Anarumo did with those defenses against Patrick Mahomes. Like, Mahomes did not play well in those games. Buffalo's defense has never been able to get to Patrick Mahomes, and they couldn't even do it at home. That's the sad part. And I think, like, to close out the quarterback conversation, because it's so much deeper than just the quarterbacks, but I think at this point, like, Mahomes is just, like I said, he's in a league of his own. And I'm not arguing that Josh Allen is in that tier, because he's not, and it's not even close. But to me, it goes Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and then everybody else. I think you can argue with a wall at that point. For me, I think it might not be that far, but I think it's 1, a lot of space. It's 2, and it's Josh Allen, and then I think there's a lot of space in between the next player.
Listen, I will also end and say, I think, and it's just so crazy because I genuinely think there's such a big resemblance, is like, we are literally repeating the Brady, Manning, and Ben Roethlisberger thing.
Yeah, it's
like, we are literally it is deja vu. Mahomes is Brady.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who you put Roethlisberger and Allen. Roethlisberger, Manning, Allen. I guess you gotta find
all
out.
Those guys
Ben Roethlisberger won 2, and Manning won 2, right? So
the crazy thing, everybody else is all those other quarterbacks. It's like they're just now. It's everybody's making like, it's true. The basketball comparison: Mahomes is Jordan. Everybody else is Patrick Ewing and Reggie Miller and Karl Malone and John Stockton. Like, everybody is those guys. You know what I mean? It's just you got to beat the best, and
you got to beat the best.
Nobody has. So.